it's me, Bren, and I am out in the Dome today. Happy first day of spring 2025. We've been anxiously waiting for that date. It's just a date to me, really. I mean, however, it does mean the sun is getting closer to the earth, which is really cool for gardeners and those who love to get some real vitamin D sunshine. But here we are, we made it, we're there. And in today's video, I have a couple of questions that I'm going to answer that were submitted to me on my website. Oh, there goes a little bug. Oh, that's one of those. I don't know what that is. It's like a mosquito, but it doesn't bite you. And we get those outside. They come to life in here as it starts warming up. The temperature inside the dome is actually a lot like a early to mid spring day, especially when the sun starts peeking out like it is today, just for a little bit. We were up close to 75 yesterday, and overnight we had some storms move through and the temperature's dropping again. I think our high today maybe is 40 if we're lucky, and the low tonight I think I saw 28, 29. So here we go. And then next week I think we're back up to 60s again, and nighttime's low, not near freezing, but that's Ohio. That's why I love living here. I really do. I like the 4 seasons that we get here. All right, so first of all, I want to thank you for checking out my vlog today. I always say vlog. I think it's actually called a vlog, video blog. These are a lot of fun and I enjoy doing them. Sorry it's been a while since I put one together. I've been really busy and also trying to get inspired. I've got like too much going on, I think, and too many seeds. Again, I got overloaded, and some of my seeds aren't getting the attention they need to, and so I get a little sad, but then I always get happy because I know with spring and coming into the last frost date for us, which isn't till May 15th, but around that first week of May, late April, the garden centers, the small mom and pop fun garden centers in my area start opening up, or they're open for business, full swing going, and that's exciting. So if my seeds die, I always know I can still find plants, especially unique ones, at the small garden centers, mom and pops. There are a couple that are still open this time of year that were open year round. I have to admit, I haven't been to any yet, the small ones. I've been stopping at the big ones just because we have some house renovations going on, so we have to go into like Home Depot and Lowe's or whatever. Actually, I did just run into Menards because I wanted to see if they had a seed starting soil that I really like, and they did. So, and that's a whole nother video. All right, so now the smaller garden centers, and I say smaller, I mean like the mom and pop or independent garden centers in my area, aren't really open quite yet. We do have, there's a couple up in Toledo that I know are open year round, but in my area I really don't have any that are open year round besides the big box stores. But I do want to get up to the one, there's one up in Toledo that's really awesome, nice family. You can go there year round, they have cool stuff. Right now what you're going to find is herbs, house plants, lots of shrubs and seasonal that are starting to come in. The garden centers in my area don't open quite until like they're in full swing come Mother's Day in May, because you're closer to the last frost date, and by that time when they sell you a plant they know it's gonna survive, because a lot of people, they don't really pay attention to frost dates and things like that, which you should, but they also will carry things that you will have success with. So that's a cool thing about the smaller garden centers. So I highly recommend, if you have one open in your area, go take pictures and share with your friends and everybody. So they appreciate that support, and I love seeing them too. I like seeing what's new this year. I'm excited. I can't wait until our smaller garden centers are open, because I can always find new things, and the people in there are so friendly. They're usually small families or families who just love gardening, and that's why they do it, and they're happy to help you. So that's a cool thing about those type of garden centers. All right, so I want to get to a question I was submitted on my website, which is a great place to leave me a comment if you have questions, especially because I get those right away. All right, so the question was about building a lean-to greenhouse onto an existing chicken coop. I guess my first question is if there's still chickens in the chicken coop. And the reason is, to my understanding, I am not a chicken person. I don't have chickens, but from the chicken coops that I do know of and I've seen, they're mostly in not so much full sun like what you're gonna need if you do a greenhouse structure in this area, especially this time of year, because you want all that light coming in that you can get to get those seedlings, or if you plan on purchasing things that are not in season quite yet and you want to kind of house them in a structure like that, a little greenhouse, instead of putting them in your garage, because they're going to do better if you keep them in a natural light setting, if that's where they came from, roughly. There's a lot behind that. So I would say if there's not chickens in it because of that whole it needs to get full sun factor, sounds like an awesome job or an awesome idea, because I can speak from experience because I have a greenhouse that's attached to the bunny barn. We used to have bunnies. We used to raise bunnies here for shows. And so for quite a while, we had livestock in the bunny barn, it's a little shed that's attached to the aluminum unheated greenhouse that I have. It was heated at the time, actually. And it works out great. There were a few obstacles with that, with having livestock in there and humidity. You want to be careful and leave doors shut and stuff like that. There's a lot behind that, but now I love it because we actually now it's kind of like my potting shed area, and it's also a place like right now in the bunny shed, since we don't have livestock in there. I actually have, if you follow me on social media, you'll see I just picked up or my husband gifted me with a bunch of new roses that he found, and so those are being wintered over, or not wintered over, they're being held in there until it's time where safe, where I can plant them out in my garden where I'm going to put them, and that provides a low light but enough real light, and it also will not freeze in there. And I also can keep tabs on it and make sure the soil that's in the containers that they're in do not get dried out. So it's like a perfect little location to keep things like that. So maybe, I haven't seen your chicken coop, so maybe that's that same type of setup. So cool. I definitely recommend doing this. Like I said, especially I think if there's not livestock in there or chickens, but you could still do it. There's just a few things you need to keep in mind. So now let's talk about the construction of this lean-to greenhouse. You are so lucky today compared to back in 2008 when we first put up our greenhouse here in Ohio. First of all, there weren't a lot of places in 2008, 2009 locally that you could just go in and get greenhouse supplies for aluminum frames and all that kind of stuff, even the covering. I think there was a big, there actually still is a greenhouse shop, if you want to say. It's not, I don't think it's open to the public. I think it is more so for the growers in my area and people who do commercial gardening and whatnot. So now, fast forward, here we are in 2025, or even actually, I can speak from experience with building the dome here in 2015. It has been 10 years now, about, right? Well, come autumn, it'll be 10 years we've been growing in, or I've been growing in this dome. Wow, birthday. Anyhow, with that in mind, even, starting around that time, we were actually able to find everything that you would need to build something like this at a local lumber store or big box store, wherever you like to go to get lumber, and they even have plastics now, greenhouse plastics. And if you can't find it locally, like I know I'm going to do a shout out to Menards. I'm not a paid sponsor at all, but Menards actually has the polycarbonate big sheets of it that you could use to cut and or just for panels in a greenhouse structure. And so we're really lucky today. We're lucky today as home gardeners, and I highly recommend, if you have space, every person that lives in Ohio or you know, a place like this. Even if you're not a gardener, I think you should have a little grow space like this. Maybe not something that's huge, but something you can go into and enjoy little plants all winter long. Even if it's like simple things like little, you know, beautiful little succulents that you can grow. And this is one of my little babies. I grew this from a little seedling like these that fell off into one of my cactus containers where I put rock. And here came this. I would have never thought of that years ago if it weren't for a space like this, because you don't usually get to see that happen, that stage of a cactus like that in my hardiness zone. But what I've created in here is we've got roughly a zone 8, maybe 9 sometimes, even in the summer, because it can get really steamy in here, which I love it though. It feels like the tropics. All right, so anyhow, be sure you build your foundation out of a treated lumber piece. I think they're called footers. It's a real big piece. You're gonna want treated because it's gonna be what touches the ground. And a lot of times, like inside the dome in here, I actually have rock up against it even, which I don't highly recommend too much stuff up against it. However, it's pretty sturdy. It can take the moisture and that being up against it because it's treated. You also, a heavy piece like that, you'll be able to take a rod. They sell really heavy duty, it's basically a metal rod, and my husband drilled it and then sunk that in there, and it holds the foundation. It will hold the structure, believe it or not. Even in my little 10 by 12 greenhouse, I've never had a problem with heavy winds that we've had. It gets noisy in there, but it is not lifted. Like I see a lot of people with the greenhouses that are kind of thin and they get lifted. The aluminum greenhouse I have is actually, it's not super heavy duty. It's heavy, but it's not like the dome here where the frame is made out of. My frame is actually made out of just regular lumber, and then we stained it, which I was following directions of the people that we built this with, and I didn't really think, you know what, it should be treated lumber. And that's what I should have done, because I have a few spots in here where it's a little smushy, and I'm living on a prayer that it doesn't cave in before I can actually either rebuild or something. Yeah, so those are my recommendations. A good foundation with a treated lumber, and then your framing, use a treated lumber unless you're lucky enough to find some an aluminum frame somewhere somebody's recycling. And you can easily find your plastics locally. And the bubble wrap is a little more expensive that I have on the outside of the dome, and I love it. I've had no problems with it. I like the way it diffuses the sun that's coming in. It's great, especially this time of year. It helps little things like this little guy, little seedlings I brought out. It's not getting fried because some of the plastics is such direct, intense sun. Now the solar wrap you would have to order online, but there's a lot of different plastics out there now. You just got to read up on them that will do that diffuse. And even if you don't get a good plastic, or you say you use recycled glass and you build, which is kind of cool, that'd be fun. It's going to get hot in there, so you're going to want windows to open, ventilation. But you can also use a shade cloth to protect the plants as we head into spring, late spring, summer in a space like this. By then, I'm guessing if you have a lean-to, most of your plants you're gonna have moved out into the garden or where you're gonna end up growing them. But if you decide to grow them year-round, like some of my stuff does in here, I actually use, this space is big enough with the dome that I can use a sun umbrella in here, and that helps shade. I just haven't brought it in here yet this year. So I hope that helps you. I'm excited to see what you come up with, and shoot me some more questions if you have them. I'd love to help you out with that. How exciting. I tell you what, if I had the budget and I had the time, I would put all different kinds of little growing stations in my yard that I could try to maintain. I don't know who I'm kidding. I'm not getting any younger, but it's just a fun experience. I don't know. Gosh, I can't imagine surviving winter as a gardener or someone who enjoys plants without a space like this. It's just been such a blessing to have this, and it is an honor and a blessing to share this with you guys. That's why I keep going with my videos. I've not really been too inspired to like get a question and it really helps me out, and really I just love your support when you ask questions, and I can bring content to you to hopefully help you out to grow better. And what I'm doing this time of year in the dome, you want to be careful because it's still early. There's not too much you can do outside quite yet, except enjoy those beautiful bulbs we planted in the autumn. A lot of mine are starting to pop up. In fact, I put some new crocuses in the lawn outside of my sunroom, and I think what happened to the older ones, they bloom 4 or 5 years in a row, but sometimes I think the lawn just kind of gets, I don't know, with us moving things, replanting, if they're going deeper and they're not blooming, or if a little squirrel or something is coming in and digging them up, because I'll find some of those purple and yellow crocus, the little ones, out in the woods area where I walk through, which is really awesome too. So that's a fun thing to see. So that's a neat thing to enjoy right now. I try to put little reminders out in the autumn when it's time to start putting your tulips and crocus and daffodils in the ground. I have some new alliums this year. I can't wait to show. It's a little early for those to be popping up, but I got a lot of cleanup in here. Things are just starting to pop up really nice. I brought a few of my seedlings out here that are doing really well. This is kale. I've never grown kale from seed like this. Seems to be doing well. I don't know if I have too many seeds in there, but it's doing really well. And this was a new, was this a perennial? It's called, oh, I can't read my writing. Verbascum, big verbascum. It's supposed to be a perennial, I believe. I've got the seed packet here, I'll show you. It's coming up nice. That was started out here, so it's used to the temperatures in here. The coriander, cilantro, just a little bit of that. And I've also been working on cleaning up a lot of my succulents. That's this time of year. A lot of them just need repotted because the dead that gets on them during the winter in here, I just kind of clean them up and repot a few of them. I'm really hoping this one, I love when the hen and chicks start having the little pups pop out of the sides. I hope this one actually fills this container. I love these new containers I got. I'll have to share that with you in another video. All right, so with all that in mind, it's windy, so I'm gonna get a little done out here, and then I got plenty of spring cleaning and whatnot to do inside and upload this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are watching this on YouTube. If you're catching this on my website, thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping over there to see. I put my photographs on there and reviews and things like that. And be sure to leave me a comment and let me know what you think, and let me know what you're growing this year. Until next time, I hope you get out in the garden, get out to the garden center. Bye.